What's up, folks? This is Kyle Thomas from Exhorter, and you're watching Aftershocks TV.
All right, so yeah, let's move on to another one now. This one, let's put it this way: I was a big fan of this band. I am no longer, and this is the reason, pretty much now.
Okay.
I've given up after hearing this news. Now I'm finally done with them. System of a Down. All right,
Okay.
I was a big fan. They were the band, like when they first started out. It took me a minute to understand what they were all about, and I really did get into them on their second record and third record. So. Now, everyone knows with these guys, right? They haven't put out an album in 20 years. Okay.
Right.
2005 was the last time their last record came out. Now, over the last 20 years, they've done festivals. They've done a couple of also like off shows, like I've seen them twice. I've seen them twice in the last 10 years. They did two in LA that they headlined, and one was a big one they did with like Incubus and Clutch and a bunch of bands. So now after like I said, for years the big hang up was what's going on with these guys? Why is there no music out? So the big hang up, supposedly, that we always, I'm gonna say supposedly, these guys have said it themselves. Serj really, it was supposedly the holdup, right? He's not really a metal guy. The vocalist Serj, not really a metal rock guy. He's Mr. now, doing scores for films, and he's an artsy fartsy type of guy. But he didn't want to do it because supposedly he also wanted more input, musical input. And he also wanted to be more involved and allowed to do interviews with the press. Now, supposedly the guitarist there on the left there, Daron Malakian, he's a songwriter guy.
Okay.
His whole thing was, Serj isn't really a rock and metal guy like the rest of us are, and he didn't want him having too much input because it would dilute the sound, and it would be a little not what people know them for. So there was really the thing between the other guys and the press, the other two guys. They would say, it's between basically these guys. You know what I mean? They're basically the two leaders and songwriters, and they can't get on the same page. So now this year, they're doing what they typically do. They've scheduled some festival dates, but they've upped it this year. Supposedly, Serj, whatever last show they did all together, he really enjoyed it, and they got along great. And he was like, all right, maybe we could do something here.
Okay.
Let's go ahead. And I guess the plan was they're going to schedule some extra shows this year and kind of feel it out. I think they have like 13 shows, which is the most they've had in 20 years.
Most of that in a long time.
Long time, right? Yeah, it's also 90s nostalgia time. These guys can once again be on top of the mountain like all these other 90s bands are right now. So time to cash in, right? People want it now more than ever. So that was the big hang up. So Serj now seems to be, okay, I think I'm on board now. Let's see how these shows go, and maybe we could be a full-time thing again. Now, Daron does an interview recently and says he doesn't really want to write new music for the band, and that his statement would probably and that statement he understood would probably upset a lot of people, and no doubt it has. So, and he wants to now concentrate on new music for his other band, Scars On Broadway, who just played Aftershock Festival, and they've kind of gotten re-going again. And so now he says it's been 20 years, it wouldn't feel right, and so he doesn't want to write new music for the band now. So all this time, that's been the big hang up. Supposedly Serj is now, okay, I'm on board, possibly here. And now he's saying kind of like, yeah, thanks, but no thanks, I'm not.
Yeah, well, the interesting thing might be how long has he been off board? And we don't know that. I mean, he may have decided 10 years ago, I'm not writing with this fucking guy again.
Well, they just come out and say it because for 10 years, all we've heard.
But they got to sell tickets now, so they're not gonna say, yeah, he's a piece of shit, I don't want to work with him, other than taking your money.
Or is it one of those like, well, no, fuck you, just because you're ready, I'm not ready.
And there could be that too. I mean,
just egos. This is battle of egos.
Choosing Scars on Broadway over System of a Down is a fucking joke. I mean, stop that. Scars on Broadway. Nobody listened to that band when it was a thing. No one did.
There's one song I really like by that, and that's it. He is not a lead singer. He's not a lead vocalist. He's a decent backup / co-vocalist guy.
Yeah. And the other piece that I find laughable in the statement is, well, Serj isn't a metal guy, so it'll dilute the sound. Well, Serj was never a metal guy.
Never. Well, that was his whole thing.
It didn't dilute the sound.
Well, no, his whole thing is that Serj now, unlike in the past, he wanted more input with the musical direction. Where in the past, it was just all Daron.
Yeah, but still, it ain't going to dilute the sound. Fans will buy anything. They bought the last Limp Bizkit record, which is like half tracks.
Well, again, that's my point. This is all ego. This is all ego.
Mm-hmm.
And so my thing is like you make your fans wait 20 years. And I had said after I saw them the second time, I remember saying, because I saw them play again, I said, no, you know what? I'm not going to see the same fucking songs, just those same songs played again. I don't want to see a nostalgic band.
Yeah.
You guys are still young enough. Put out a fucking new record. I'll go see it.
Mm-hmm. I don't know the answer to this, and it might have nothing to do with this, but how much do you think goes into the fact that it also has no value anymore? Putting out a record means nothing.
Well, no, here's the thing. See, I disagree. I think, because here's the thing. They're not going to go ahead and tour if they have no new music. They're not going to go on a tour. Like I said, they've done shows. I mean, in the pandemic, they did that huge one I was supposed to go to, but it got canceled. It got rescheduled and they played it. I just didn't go, but it was them and Korn and Helmet and Faith No More.
Yeah.
Huge show. Now they would do those things because those things they could do once in a while. But no, if they decided we're going to just tour or for our old albums, I don't think it's going to fly.
No, what I'm saying is I want to go back to the creative part.
Uh-huh.
For the creative part, they know they're not going to make any money by putting out a record. They all kind of don't get along anyway. So why would they want to work together to create something that's not going to have any financial bounty to them at all?
Well, here's the thing. I do think they would sell some records. Not a ton, not like it used to be. I think they would sell records. They still have a strong fan base. People would definitely buy. But again, you have to, like we hear from all these bands say, right? Well, I'm just putting out a record so I can tour.
Yeah.
That's where you're going to make your money.
But they don't need it.
Well, but that's my point. This is the ultimate money grab. Mm-hmm. It's the ultimate. And fans are starting to see. I saw it a while ago, and I said I was done until they put out music because I'm not doing money grab. Look, when you reform and do a reunion, okay, I will definitely go to that.
Sure.
Once I even did it a second time. I'm not going to do it a third time until you put out new music, until you're a band again. I mean, again, then you're just play. I'm not here.
You're a casino band at this point.
You're a casino band. Bingo. Exactly. And so that's the point. And people are seeing it now. They're seeing that you guys are just money grabbing this shit. You don't like your egos about, you're able to put your egos aside a handful of times a year so you can make you're just doing these shows so you get your money every year. I mean, nothing new's coming of it. It's the same songs. It's not like you're playing songs you never played live before, and you don't have an extensive catalog like that.
Yeah, they only have 3 records?
Well, no, they've got they have 5 records. They got 5 records.
All right.
But again, they haven't had one in 20 years.
Yeah.
I mean, that's way too long. So, like I said, the Scars on Broadway, give me a break. If he thinks people are not going to fucking, that's not going to happen.
Scars on Broadway, if he focuses on that for the rest of his life, will he ever sell out a casino? I doubt it.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing, it just brought up to me when I was reading all this too. It's like, do you ever notice with these bands? Like, so they're known for what? They're an Armenian band, right? They're all Armenian. They sing about all the genocide and everything, right? You never notice these bands like that like, they kind of put on when they come out, they sort of put on this thing like we're this brotherhood type of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Sepultura. Remember all that stuff? Oh, the Tribe. We're the fucking Tribe. Yeah. And then next thing you know, next week, these guys don't even fucking talk. They haven't talked to each other in fucking 30 years. I mean, a lot of these bands that come out with that whole, with this brotherhood, this tribe, this blah, 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 blah. They're always the ones that wind up like hating each other. I mean, it's, you ever noticed that? It's just something I thought about when I was reading this fucking thing. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. It's interesting, man. But anyway, all right. Enough of that. So System of a Down.
That is pissing you off.
See ya. Huh?
That's pissing you off.
Well, it did. I mean, I was a big fan of this band. I supported them for years. It pissed me that I went to those shows, and it's all. But what pisses me off is because this whole time it's like, all right, because it's because of Serj. And I understood it. He's not a mellow guy. Maybe they're just not able to musically do it. No big deal. Now it's like he's on board, and now you're saying I'm not.
I had an interest in music always.
It's always kind of been around me some way, shape, or form. 5 minutes sitting on a drum set, man. Change your life.
This is the same black guitar that Marty McFly plays in Back to the Future.
I love the feeling I get in front of the freaking full stack here, just the vibration, there's something to it.
I'm lucky because I do have a little bit of a tap into the Fu Manchu lore, into the Nebula lore.
In order to keep things going, you kind of have to like start playing the game a little bit, you know, like the business game.
Everybody has to get through a day-to-day, and how do you exist and how do you get by?
As far as getting people to commit to bands, it's tough to keep a lot together these days, for sure.
Still sleeping on people's floor, that's still a reality.
Probably also playing with some of the best people I've ever played with. The creative juices don't stop. It just keeps going.
For me, it's just finding a balance of how much time I'm spending with my family versus how much time I'm spending working.
It's this validation that what you're doing actually has merit.
Obviously, we're a little long in the tooth, and we've been doing this for a minute, and now we can kind of do what we want. We don't need a record company. I'll do it myself. I'll do it the way I want to.
Just always be cool. Just be respectful. Those are your people. They're connecting to you on some level, even if they don't look like you.
It's got to happen, you know, or else I'll go crazy. I'll go crazy one way or another, you know. I might as well, you know, not go crazy if I can play music.
Maybe one day I'll have a Porsche, but you know, until that day, I'll drive a Chevy.
There you go.
All right.